Hello, church family. Today we're going to be in Philippians chapter 4. What an amazing book that we have here, and we're kind of bringing it to a close today. And one of the major themes that we see throughout this book, especially in chapter 4, but also just throughout the rest of the chapters, is Paul is consistently reminding these people how much joy and how much of an encouragement they have been to him in his life. They have really helped him in his ministry in times where Paul was really struggling, where he was really hurt, right? And so he is just reminded and encouraged by the relationship that he has with the people and with the church in Philippi, which when reading chapter 4 kind of made me reflect on those relationships in my life, those people that the Lord have brought into my life from even a young age, people that taught me the Lord, that shared with me and how to live for Christ, those that kind of helped when I was struggling, that stepped in and wanted to be involved with my struggle. And then also those that just don't give up on you, right? Those that stay in your life and those that just keep encouraging you and pushing you to the Lord. I know that the Lord has been gracious to many of us, especially those that have been involved with church for so long, to have those kind of relationships. And they are very special. And it's one of those things that we get to experience inside the church. It's something that is very unique and very special that happens between believers, where we can really connect with one another in a very special way, and have some very deep relationships within Christian community, within the church. And Paul says this in verse 14. Paul says this about his relationship with the church of Philippi. He says, "Yet it was kind of you to share my trouble. You Philippians yourselves know that in the beginning of the gospel, when I was in Macedonia, no church entered into partnership with me in giving and receiving, except you only. Even in Thessalonica, you sent me help for my needs once and again. Not that I seek a gift, but I seek the fruit that increases to your credit. I have received full payment and more. I am well supplied." Paul says here, he says, listen, Church of Philippi, you have gone above and beyond in helping me. You've given me more than I could imagine. You have been there for me when nobody else was, right? He was like, you were the first to join with me in this mission, in helping me and in the ministry. That means something to Paul. And how Paul opens verse 14, when he says, "It was kind of you to share my trouble." And here's the thing, something that I've learned in my life, and something as I was reflecting this morning, you don't forget about those people that share with you in trouble, that step into your suffering, that choose to be right there with you. They don't run away from it. They don't, give you half-hearted encouragement or anything like that. No, they step inside and they help you with your trouble. I think the relationship that I was reminded about was my Sunday school teacher when I was in middle school. And not only was he my Sunday school teacher, but for some of my time in middle school, he was also my principal. And so my Sunday school teacher and my principal. And his name was Mike Green. And I remember Mr. Green. And in middle school, I probably don't have to explain this to many, but middle school is a very tough time of life. Not for everybody, but for me, it was. There was just a lot of things happening with my relationships, with my friends, who I'm going to be, all those things I'm dealing with, my insecurities, my weaknesses. You kind of get all that and everything in middle school. In middle school, it kind of all hits the fan. You just don't know where you're going. And I remember one Sunday morning in Mr. Green's class, we got done and the class dismissed, and I was sitting there talking to him and chatting up with him. And then I started sharing some of the things that I was dealing with in school. And I think he knew that it was bothering me. I think he knew that I was struggling. I mean, he was there at the school with me. He probably saw that from time to time. And I remember just sharing that with him that one of those Sunday mornings. And I'll never forget it. He was one of the first people to ever do this for me. He stopped right there with what he was doing, and we took a seat, and he prayed for me right there. I'd never seen that before. I know that seems so simple, and I hope that happened for you before you got to middle school. But for me, it was the first time that someone took what I was dealing with, all my little troubles, all struggles, all took my middle school world, and he began to pray for it. And he prayed for me specifically, and he took those issues and took them to the Lord. And as a middle schooler, from that point on, I knew that guy, Mr. Green, had my back. Whether as my Sunday school teacher, but also my principal. He was just such a huge encouragement to me in my life. And also in my ministry. He probably doesn't even know this, but his words and encouragement was some of the first things that probably nudged me towards wanting to be in the ministry today. And so just very simple things. He stepped into my middle school troubles, my things that I was dealing with, that my life was revolving around at that time. And he took it. He took it and prayed for it, and it really helped me tremendously. And that's what Paul is saying here. He's like, I'm reminded of you, the people in Philippi, because you chose to suffer with me. You chose to be with me when I was struggling. And here's the thing, as the church, we got to make this our goal to keep these kinds of relationships moving forward. These kind of things happening from a day to day with the lost world, people that are in our spheres, at work, at our schools, at our jobs, all the activities that we're involved with. We got to keep this moving in that way with the lost, but also within the church. Christians, we don't run from people that are struggling. We don't run from them. We run to them, right? And we're able to help other people that are struggling because more than likely you've been there too. And most importantly, even if you haven't been there, you are connected to the person and the one that brings hope. And so we can help those that are struggling. And it doesn't mean that you're able to just supply every need in that moment. It's just deciding not to run away. It's deciding to not just step through the motions with somebody when they're sharing their troubles with you. It's deciding to step in, to pray for them, and to let them know and really know, I'm not going nowhere. You need to talk again. You need to pray. You want me to continue to pray? I will be there to do it. And if you can help in a bigger way, then do so. But as Christians, we don't run away from helping people that are in trouble. That's where some very special things can happen within the church. That's who we are as Christ followers. That's who we're supposed to be, is helping and nurturing relationships like this. That's who we are as a people. And so that's my encouragement for you today. I just want you to spend some time reflecting on those people. And it might not just be people that helped you with troubling times or tough situations. It might just be people that taught you the Word of God, and people that have just continued to be there. And ask yourself, are you being that for other people? Are you being someone that is seeking to go help? Are you being someone that is not avoiding people to stay out of troubling situations, but you're running to them? You're stepping into that ministry with them. And so that's my encouragement to you guys. Hopefully this whole book has been just a major encouragement to you. But hopefully chapter 4 and these relationships that we just see them as being very, very special. Hey, church family, thank you so much for all that you've done and all that you're doing. And we love you. And if we can do anything for you, let us know. And we will see you soon. All right. Bye.